my big brother. I was the baby of the family. You would have seen on the shots there that Pete got up to a lot of shenanigans with us. So naturally he was my hero. Pete led by example how to live your life to the full, how to deal with adversities with dignity and grace, and how to be resilient and not wallow in self-pity, and to be precise in what he wanted out of life and to never lose sight of the goal ahead. Pete breezed in and out of our lives, in between his wonderful and exciting adventures, so we got glimpses of him. And while he was with us, for those precious times, he was the storyteller, and boy could he engage an audience, as you all know. I loved to hear his tales. He came to us to recoup and to regroup, and then off he'd go again on yet another adventure. He never stayed long enough for us to get sick of him. It's true. During his adventures though, he always managed to stay in touch by sending fantastic photos and wonderful letters. We have had the privilege in the last few days to go through the trunk of photos, and there were thousands of photos, and the mementos that he left behind. We had real laughs, and we were in awe of some of the most wonderful scenery that he captured. Pete loved his animals, and when he trained them, he also trained his students, and my kids in the same way. I remember with my daughter Vicky, she talked back to him when she was 5 years old, and he just smacked her on the bum, and she was so shocked. Well, we all laughed at her indignity, and she learned her lesson, and that was Pete. He treated all people the same in that regard, and he would take no nonsense from anyone. Pete spent a great deal of time in the States, and he would often go and hang out with Mum. These are precious memories that she cherished and recalls often. When Pete got sick, Mum was critical care nursing in Miami, Florida, and she then chose to nurse HIV patients for 2 full years, so that she knew how Pete would feel and how to also understand what he would experience eventually. This was so courageous of her at that time when HIV was very stigmatised in the States or around the world. While looking through the photos, it reminded us of the fabulous times we had with Pete. In 1999, Yvonne took Pete to Europe just before he lost his sight, and they were able to see the Spanish riding school before he went blind. He had some very special times, we had some very special times with Pete when he came to Australia in April this year to say goodbye to the family over there. And then I came back in June to spend one more time with him. After looking at those photos, I remember Pete as he was in his heyday, and I appreciate all that he taught me through his challenges. Rodney, you were the most wonderful thing that happened to Pete. In those 7 years, he knew love. He knew how to love and what love was. Thank you so much. I'll miss Pete, and I'm sure a lot of people will.